If you do not want to pay for a Windows license, or you have an old computer that cannot run Windows 10 or Windows 11, or you are concerned about Microsoft announcement that after numerous users' complaints, they will implement recall, which poses a significant security risk by taking screenshots every 2 seconds to monitor everything happening on your computer. Regardless of the reason, if you have decided that Windows is no longer the operating system that meets your needs, Linux Mint is likely one of the best alternatives. This Linux distribution is specially designed to make the transition from Windows to Linux easier for users. In this video, we will show how to download, install and set up Linux Mint, as well as its basic functionalities, including using the terminal with the help of AI. When you visit the official Linux Mint website, and the link will be in the video description, click on Download button. You will then be redirected to another page where you need to choose the version you want. You have 3 options. I will choose the first option, Cinnamon, as it is the most popular version that will likely suit most users. When you click Download again, you will receive a brief description, and below it there will be a mirror section, which is a list of locations from which you can download the ISO file. This is important only if you have a slow internet connection. In that case, choose the location that is geographically closest to you. If that is not the case, you can click on any link. For example, I will click on the first option. After that, the download process for the ISO file will begin. Once the download is complete, you will need a USB drive to write Linux Mint to and a program to create a boot disk. Since this video is primarily aimed at Windows users who want to switch to Linux, we will use Rufus. If you are using Linux or Mac, to create the boot disk, you can use Belina Etcher. When you launch Rufus, click on Select button and choose the Linux Mint ISO file that we previously downloaded. Click on Start, after which you will be given the option to choose how the USB will be formatted. It is recommended to select the first option, write in ISO image mode, especially if you have a large capacity USB, as this formatting method allows you to write additional data to the USB. We will select the first option and click OK, after which we will receive a warning that the USB will be completely erased. Click OK again and wait for the USB boot disk creation to finish. Once the process is successfully completed, we will restart the computer and select the newly created USB containing Linux Mint from the boot menu. You can access the boot menu by pressing the appropriate key. In my case it is F12, but for you it may be a different key depending on the computer you are using. Usually, before the operating system loads, a message will appear on the screen indicating which key you need to press to access the boot menu. After that, you will see a menu where you need to select the first option, Start Linux Mint, and press Enter. Since this is a live USB disk, you have the option to see and test Linux Mint before installing the system on your hard drive. The installation is initiated by clicking on the disk icon, which will be in the upper left corner. When you click on this icon, the new window will open where you need to make the desired settings. First, you will be prompted to choose a language, then the keyboard layout you are using. After that, you will have the option to check the Install Multimedia Codecs option, which is advisable to do as this option allows for the automatic installation of codecs needed for the media files such as MP3, MP4 and so on. When we click Continue, we will receive settings related to the hard drive where the Linux Mint will be installed. The first option, Erase Disk and Install Linux Mint, will delete the contents of the hard drive and install Linux Mint. If you have multiple hard drives or your hard drive is divided into multiple parts, select the second option, Something Else. We will do this to show how it works. As you can see, I currently have one unformatted partition. To format it in the way I want, I will click on New Partition Table, after which the program will warn me that I have selected the entire disk and ask if I want to continue. Now we have a free space that we can use by clicking on the plus icon, after which we will get options that we can configure as we wish. We can specify how much space on the hard drive will be assigned to Linux Mint, whether the partition will be primary or logical, what format the partition will have, and finally we need to determine the mount point, which is the root folder where all system files will reside. You have multiple options, but it is recommended to choose the first option, which is the /. After we have made all the necessary settings, we will click on Install Now, after which we will be prompted to select our location. When we click on Continue, we will have the opportunity to define the username and password. The computer name will be automatically defined based on your name. It is advisable to choose a password that is easy to remember, as you will need to enter it frequently in Linux. For example, you will need to enter the password each time you want to make a change, such as installing a program or performing similar activities. If you want, you can check the option Encrypt My Home folder, which will encrypt the contents of all folders located in the home folder, meaning it will encrypt the folders Documents, Pictures, Music, Videos and Settings. After you have made all the settings, click Continue and the installation of Linux Mint will begin. The installation process should take between 15 and 30 minutes. However, this can vary depending on the speed of your computer. In other words, it depends on your system configuration and the speed of the hard drive on which you are installing the operating system. Once the installation is successfully completed, you will need to restart your computer by clicking on the Restart Now. When Linux Mint starts, you will first need to enter your password you defined, after which you will see a window that says Welcome to Linux Mint. When you click on Let's Go button, you will have the opportunity to perform some basic settings. The first option, Desktop Colors, allows you to choose whether you want a dark, light or mixed theme. When you click on Advanced Settings, you will get additional options such as choosing the appearance of the cursor, icons, start menu and more. If you click on Add Remove, you will have the option to download predefined themes for Linux Mint, and in the Settings section, you have additional configurations. The second option is System Snapshots, which allows you to back up your system. When you click on Launch, you will first need to enter your password, then select the type of snapshot, click Next and wait for the analysis to finish. After which you will see all the hard drives and the partition you have. Select one or more that you wish to backup and click Next. After that, you need to decide how often you want the backup to be created. You can choose to have the backup made every month, every week, daily, every hour, or every time the operating system starts. For example, I will choose to have the backup created every month. Next, we will have the option to select what we want to backup. By default, Exclude all files is checked, which is an option you can leave checked if you want to manually add which files and folders you want the system to back up. The Include Only Hidden Files option will include only hidden files in the snapshot. Hidden files in Linux are those that start with a dot, for example .config. If you want to back up all files and folders, check the option in the Include All Files column. Click Next and then Finish to complete the settings. After that, you will see a new window with a label indicating the time shift is active. If you want to manually create a backup, you can do so by clicking the Create button. Once the process is complete, the created backup will be displayed in the table, and you can add a description to remember what you backed up. For example, I will write Linux Mint 1.0. You can restore data by clicking Restore, then select what you want to recover, click Next, wait for the process to finish, click Next again, after which your computer will restart. The third option for configuration is Driver Manager. When you click on Launch, the program will search for all drivers, and if any are not installed or if a new version is available, it will give you the option to download and install them. In our case, all drivers are already installed. The fourth option, Update Manager, allows you to update your system and all installed applications in one place. When you click on the Launch button, if you are using this option for the first time, you will receive a notification that a new version has been released and that to download and install it, you need to click on Apply the update. Enter your password and wait for the process to complete. After that, you will receive a list of all updates available for your system and the applications you have. You can also access this application by clicking on the shield icon in the lower right corner. If you noticed a red dot on this icon, it indicates that there is a new update. To perform the update, all you need to do is click the Install Update button, enter your password and wait for the download and installation process to finish. The fifth option is System Settings, which you can also access from the main menu. This is equivalent to the Windows control panel, where you can make various system adjustments. The sixth option is Software Manager, which allows you to install and remove various applications with a single click. Essentially, this application functions like Google Play or the App Store. When the Software Manager launches, you will see some recommended applications and a list of all applications grouped into 12 categories. When you click on any category, you will see all the applications you can install that fall under that category. For example, we can install and then remove VirtualBox to show how this works. By clicking on VirtualBox, you will receive a brief description of the application, and in the upper right corner you will see the Install button. When you click on this button, you will first receive a list of all dependencies, in other words, all packages required for this application to work. Click the Continue button to confirm your selection, enter your password, after which the installation process will begin. Once the installation process is complete, you will see a Launch button in the upper right corner, and you can start the application by simply clicking this button. The application icon will also be available in the main menu. If you want to remove this application, simply click the Remove button. You will again receive a list of all dependencies that are required for this application, which will now be removed. Enter your password, after which the application, along with all its packages, will be removed from your computer. As I mentioned earlier, you can browse applications by categories. For example, if we go to Sound and Video, we will see well-known applications like the VLC player, which we will now install. We will also add the icon to the desktop by right-clicking on the icon and selecting the Add to Desktop option. You can also search for applications by name if you know exactly what you are looking for. Let's do that now for the Brave web browser. We will install this application as well. The seventh option is Firewall, which comes with a Linux Mint, and you can activate it if you do not plan to use any other protection. When it comes to firewalls, it is recommended to use Portmaster, which offers more options and better protection. We discussed this program in one of the previous videos, so if you missed it, the link will be in the description. When you finish all these settings, if you do not want this window to appear every time you start Linux Mint, uncheck the Show This dialog at Startup option. Finally, one of the biggest challenges new Linux users face is using the terminal. Although this is probably one of the main reasons many Windows users are hesitant to switch to Linux, using the terminal is not as intimidating as it may seem at first glance. Over time, you will get used to it and may even start to prefer it over the graphical interface. You can open the terminal by pressing Ctrl-Alt-T at the same time, or simply by clicking the icon in the lower left corner that has a $sign and an underscore. When the terminal opens, to demonstrate how to install applications by the terminal, we will launch Firefox and search for example, ProtonVPN. We go to Download and then select Linux Mint as the operating system. We will receive three installation options: Debian, Ubuntu, and Fedora. I will choose the first option, Debian, as when you use Linux Mint, you can select installation instructions for either Debian or Ubuntu, since Linux Mint is based on these two operating systems. After that, we will receive installation instructions for the program. We will move Firefox to the side to clearly see what we are doing in the terminal while following the instructions. Now we just need to follow the instructions provided, which means entering the commands one by one in the terminal. The first command will download the package. The second command is to add the repository. When we copy it and press enter, we will be prompted to enter our password. Next, we will copy the third command, which checks the integrity of the installed package, and then press enter again. The fourth command is to install the application itself. We will copy the command, paste it into the terminal, and press enter. We will be asked to confirm whether we want to install the application by entering Y for yes or N for no. We will enter Y and press enter, after which the installation will begin. Now we will check the start menu to see if we have ProtonVPN installed. As you can see, we have successfully installed the application. For the most applications you want to install on Linux Mint, you will receive a similar instructions, and all you need to do is follow the steps. However, if you encounter any problems or insecurities, you can always use AI to help you troubleshoot. You can use any AI, but the simplest way is to use DuckDuckGo AI, as registration is not required. Simply type DuckDuckGo into your browser, click on the first link you get, and then on the new page, click on Chat in the upper right corner. Confirm that you agree to the terms of use and you can start using this service. For example, you can type in how to update Linux Mint. You can use any language to ask the question. You will receive answers in that specified language, while the commands will be, of course, in English. When you enter your question, you will receive instructions to follow, in other words, commands that you will need to copy back into the terminal and confirm by pressing enter. This is probably the easiest and the fastest way to resolve any issues you have, and over time you will learn the most commonly used commands that you need. If for any reason you are not satisfied with the answer you will receive from the AI, or if the answer did not resolve your problem, DuckDuckGo AI offers the option to choose from multiple AI models. By default, GPT-4 Mini is selected, but when you click on the drop-down menu, you will see other options you can choose from, such as Llama, Claude, and others. Thanks to everyone who took the time to watch this video. I hope you find it useful or at least informative.